So we're back in the MCU tie-in games published by Sega, and it's time for Thor, for its game called Thor God of Thunder. Once again, HD version, PS3 version specifically, developed by, in this case, by Liquid Entertainment. I actually never heard of this studio before, and
This game
among
doesn't look very liquid.
no, and guess what, Pedro? This game supports 3D.
Oh yeah, this was
Ooh,
back when the
boy.
PS3 had the 3D thing.
What? The PS3
I
had
didn't know that
3D?
was a thing.
No, basically this was the point where we started shoving down
Oh,
your throat
3D
3D
TVs.
televisions.
Oh,
Yes.
God. No. Okay.
Oh, I remember the ads.
Okay.
Okay,
This
Jova,
was not really
let
a
me summarize
PS3
quickly.
thing.
The extras in this movie are laughable. You have like a pitiful selection of alternate costumes for Thor, like helmet or not, or beard or not, and different lightning power colors. Who gives a shit?
Woo.
Well, sure, this is extras. This just has options there.
No, but yeah, but those
They're
are basically your
lame
extras.
extras, though.
No concept arts, no, not even like a theater more or anything. Nothing.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Most of the Disney licensed games, the modern ones, they have making of documentaries. So
Anyways,
No, this is barren. Hold on, Jova. Sorry, I interrupt you. There will be some sections of gameplay almost immediately, so I will allow you there because this game, the keyword or definition in this game, as you will see from the very first cutscene, is performance. This game struggles a lot to reach 25 frames per second, and I want to be generous on that.
isn't this game on the Wii as well?
Yes, although people say that the best version to play is the DS version made by Way Forward, so we'll see. So
Not surprised.
this is another Type C video game because it's a prequel to the movie. So we will not see Natalie Portman's character, no, the other scientist of Earth. Instead, we will see Loki, played again by Tom Hiddleston, to concoct a plan to try to take over Asgard more subtly, while Thor will just fuck around for the Song of the Nine Realms.
it's literally an inverse of Iron Man 2's video game tie-in.
I don't mind that, but the story of the game is bland.
Let's just say, folks, this game performs pretty terribly, as Tio mentioned. But
This is the FNB, technically, so it still runs
Tio.
decently, sort
Tio,
of.
from what I've heard and seen, the Wii version performs better than the HD version.
I can imagine. I guess it's the same thing with like Iron Man 2, for example. So yeah, guess what? Heimdall gets frozen again.
God dang it, Heindo, we gotta work on this.
My guess is they made the game for the Wii and they
Never
didn't have
see
time to
the
polish the
sky.
HD ports very well.
Mind you, the Nintendo the Wii version was done instead by Red Fly Studios, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. In that case, no, never mind. In that case, okay.
Anyway, guess what? Of the actors of the movie, only 3 reprised the role. Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and Jamie Alexander as Sif. Mind you, doesn't matter
Couldn't even
much.
get Anthony Hopkins.
It doesn't matter much because everyone sounds bored as fuck in this game. So yeah, daily train.
Okay, Chris Hemsworth looks even bigger than he actually is in real life. Like seriously.
He be ripped, yo.
Yep,
How did you know you weren't hitting the real me with that hammer?
I
Never let
didn't.
yourself actually get hurt.
It felt like my video
not
froze
right.
for like.
It was my Elgato glitching up.
Okay.
What in the nine worlds?
For once, it was not actually the game's problem.
Someone
that
should
said,
be
though,
like-
get used to it being said that it's not Tio's fault.
And
because-
Sif gets frozen. Yeah,
Sif
get
gets the short end of the stick.
believe me, dweebs, we'll see. I think we'll see it again at the end of this part. Sif gets dropped even in this game.
You've come here to die.
I will say this: Chris Hemsworth sounds he's trying, at least compared to Robert Downey Jr. And Edward Norton, but it's still not enough. Anyway, go on, Jova. I'll explain more the gameplay another time.
Okay, so as you can see here, folks, this game moves, well, to say it moves at a European frame rate would be too nice. This game moves like it got clogged in mud, tried to oil itself up to make itself slippery, but just ended up grinding its gears more, to the point where it will occasionally become a rigid, frigid iceberg of a game here. As you
Does
are
an
seeing right
alphabet,
here.
Can already
doesn't-
tell.
does an alphabet
Would you-
for himself moves slowly?
Jova, how close is it? Would you say to slideshow territory?
Oh, it goes there occasionally. It
I
goes
will
Not at
say
the
there.
this.
moment, though.
I will say this, Lives. Well, very good. That's already a good example. I will say the medium is between 15 and 25 frames.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell.
Again, I'll just put it like this. If you want a better console version, stick with the Wii version. The Wii version miraculously has a much more consistent frame rate.
Well, at
How
that
is
point,
this,
you.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, looking at the way this jumps around, Dwibs, how do you think this compares to Enter the Dragonfly? Because already I'm having flashbacks.
Well, Siri. Well, to be fair to this game at least doesn't have overly big levels. And the Dragonfly had a lot more problems than just dodgy frame rate.
Are you sure about this game not having overly big levels, Dwibs? After all,
We'll
we're
see.
only seeing the
We'll see.
start.
Yeah, this is just the tutorial.
Let me put it like
Okay,
this. What?
for the thought process, I can understand. Incredible Hulk was an open world, basically beat 'em up when you go down to it. Iron Man was a shooter presented in two different ways. So for this, they go for the God of War clone route. Basically mixing beat 'em up and fantasy action, which fits the theme of Thor, especially what we will go for the plot of the game.
I can just imagine at the time. God of War in a Norse mythology?
The
Preposterous.
problem. This was released a year after God of War 3, and he looks and plays like he doesn't have the same exciting. When you play a God of War game, you get a sense of feeling and scope. Santa Monica wanted to emphasize how Kratos felt small compared to the world he was in, and will still manage to destroy everything around it. You don't get the same feeling in this game. This game feels like your average beat 'em up, where you just beat the shit out of some people very awkwardly and very slowly, then proceeds to the next room and do the same thing. Occasionally we'll have a ranged enemy where Thor needs to throw Mjolnir at it. Sometimes Thor will use his magical powers, and sometimes he will have to charge instead of device or solve a puzzle. That's it.
God, I'm trying. Rukia, remind me. Did Angry Joe rank this higher or lower than Green Lantern, the video game, which came out?
I think it was around the same because he compared the games the same. I still haven't played Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunters. I have a copy. I will see what it's about. Anyway, I will say more later. There you go. Thanks to his lightning, Thor has managed to rescue Sif.
Doesn't matter.
You know, despite Sif getting jobs,
My
she's
God,
surprisingly...
Chris, please try a bit more.
Despite Sif getting jobs, she's surprisingly the only one of Thor's friends who wasn't lamely killed off.
I'll catch up now. Go.
Alright, these are just for jumping from the next level. When you see that indicator, you just move to it, press the button tied to swing the only, and whee!
Oh, cool, it's here. We're gonna talk about how this game pads.
Well, later. For your reference, I also trimmed out the loading screens. Once again, they're not Sonic 06 level tier level of long, but they are frequent, meaning that they could be a bit intrusive, so I just eased up things.
You know, you gotta love how this kind of clashes with the first movie's plot, seeing as how we're doing with the ice giants waging war, but wasn't the point that there was supposed to be a peace being kept between the two? But here, if anything, doesn't this kind of facilitate Thor's point when he tried to go after the ice giants in the first place, which was considered a
Pretty
no-no?
much, especially considering the lesson Thor has to learn in this game. When we're keeping in theme with the movies, Thor will have to learn a lesson in this game. A lesson of humility, basically.
But according
And,
to this game, Thor was
he
actually
will
in the
forget
right.
immediately after this game.
Well, not only that, but when you think about it, Thor was in the right when he attacked the ice
So,
giants
hold
if they'd been leading these attacks like this from the get-go.
Yes, Pedro?
So hold on, this game is supposed to be a prequel to the movie, and yet he's getting a lesson in humility, even though So he gets a lesson in humility here, but then a lesson in humility in the movie. So what happened in between the game and the movie? Did he suddenly become cocky somehow?
Beats the shit out of me.
Pedro. Not only that, think about it, Pedro. The Ice Giants are actually being the one to initiate attacks on Asgard in the first place. Wasn't the point supposed to be that Thor was the one
They
who
were not
initiated
allowed.
attacks in the first place because, they were maintaining a peace? But no, according to this game, Thor was absolutely in the right because here are the Ice Giants, these same Ice Giants, laying waste to Asgard.
Alright,
Oh
this
boy,
is...
I do love me continuations of a story where they just have the hero learn the exact same lesson again that he already learned.
Alright, this is to introduce the fact that Thor has different sets of magical powers tied to him. Specifically, the 3 types of elements associated with a thunderstorm. The lightning, which is the proper bolt, the proper electricity bolt. The wind, which is what constitutes a storm, the proper gale force. And the thunder, which is the impact force, which each of them will function a different way. Wind is the more useless of them because it serves only to dispel stuff like flames or ice breath. Lightning is arguably the most useful because it basically deals the more damage. Thunder is the one ideal to remove enemy armor and similar in order to knock them down. So basically, my suggestion: just stick with lightning and upgrade that skill tree, particular skill tree.
Figures.
Oh yeah, by the way, every time you scroll, Chris Hemsworth to save monotonely the name of the power. So like, lightning, thunder, lightning.
Thunder.
Like-
Thunder. Thundercats! Oh!
I wish it was that emotional.
I know, right?
It's interesting that they did this because the way God of War on the PS4 plays, that's exactly how I would want a Thor game to play. So, kind of a little bit of hindsight they had, maybe?
So, or more irony, I suppose. Anyway, as for the music, because you certainly started hearing how repetitive it is, Twibs, we have Einon Zur again.
That
If you
sounds
don't remember,
familiar.
he composed for some of the Prince of Persia games, for example.
Ah, but those were good.
He also
music-wise.
composed for stuff like Dragon's Dogma, Fallout 76, Siberia 3.
Oh.
Guardians of it. Well, Jova is only the composing, so it's not like it's ambition die. To be frank, I don't remember what the score of Fallout 76 is supposed to be.
Well, I'm just gonna say
But,
my condolences for anyone innocent involved with the making of
I would
that
say
game.
this: he's a composer that knows what to do, but usually is not given that much material to work with, because the score of his game reflects that. It's fine at first, but you start hearing how quickly how repetitive it is. And it's kind of a shame because this guy, Mr. Zulur, does have a talent, but it's shamefully just wasted.
So, Shiroi, what do you think of this game so far? Aside from it reminding you of one of the worst games of all time, Enter the Dragonfly.
I mean, in every other aspect, it's not as offensive, I guess.
Okay, here's the thing. What this game may lack in being outright bad in, like, the game as a whole, like Incredible Hulk, or lame, like Iron Man, it makes up for that by being a chore to play. Like, an absolute chore to play.
I agree. The gaming itself is not too... It can be just boring, but not outright bad, until the last level. The last level will make you rage quit. Like, it made me the first time, and it almost made me again when I was recording this. It just is that tedious, but all in due time. Basically, similar in God of War, or in games with similar capacity, Thor can gain experience points both from beating the enemy, destroying objects, or gaining these particular runes from these, basically the equivalent of chest. And you spend the experience points in this set of skill trees that includes, like, for example, your health pool, the magic bar that you use for your magical powers, some perks that are tied to your particular magical effect, or the effectiveness of Mjolnir in combat. For saving you how to spend, max out the health pool, the Mjolnir War, and the lightning one. That's pretty much all the ones that you're gonna need. Oh shit. Basically, now the plan for Thor is to go to sound the Gala horn, which is a incredibly big horn that the Asgardians possess, which will boost the morale of the troops, essentially. So first things first, we need to free it.
Prince of Asgard.
By the way, all the Frost Giants are voiced by Robin Atkin Dawes.
Stand aside.
Okay.
Okay.
None of you will leave Asgard alive.
Well,
he
Chris
sounds-
Hemsworth doesn't sound like he's.
Like I
Don't say
said,
he's bored.
like-
He's just.
Going through
Like
the
I said,
motions.
he sounds like he's trying at least, compared to the previous protagonists. Well, Eric Loomis was a different category and compared more to the actual actors. Anyway, the one particular mechanic, just like in God of War, is that you can grab enemies and perform different actions depending on the buttons you perform, you press. Hold on. Depending on the buttons you press, however, you will get a different type of rewards. You can either use Mjolnir, I think it's on square, use the magical power, mostly lightning, with triangle, or just yeet the enemy with another press of circle.
Kind of an
Basically
interesting
showcase it.
idea there, I'll admit.
It's nice enough, and you get different types of orbs as a result. So you can strategize. Do I want more health? Do I need some health back, or I can just sacrifice this enemy in order to get some experience points? Again, I like that concept, that you can perform that also on bigger enemies once they have most of their health depleted. So the game has an interesting set of ideas. It's just pretty much similar to the other MCU Phase 1 tie-in video game, lacked proper budget and time behind it, because this needed to be released before the movie. And I do suspect that the makers didn't know much about the movie aside from a general guideline and what the actors were supposed to look like. Because once again, aside from the lesser humidity problem, in terms of events, this doesn't tie in at all with what happens in the movie. So
Kind of makes you wonder if they should have done something like what Ubisoft would do with quote-unquote Avengers, but that's for later. Actually, are you gonna cover that game since it's technically...
Well, Jova, I disagree with what Dark Lord Shadow says. It's just, I still believe it's just a game of its own. I do believe that it may be done from the scrapped Avengers game that we were supposed to make, but I still don't believe it ties in with the movie at all.
Although, either way, it was Ubisoft screwing up something that they just got, because literally after that one game, Disney pretty much pulled out from any dealing with Ubisoft.
Pretty much. I actually don't know. Who were the publishers of it, but I can attest, because I did some minor research, is that for Phase 2, they actually released 3 mobile games. Originally, I thought there was only one tied to Iron Man 3, but they actually did 3. One for Iron Man 3, one for Captain America the Winter Soldier, and one for Thor Into the Dark, Thor Dark World, sorry.
PS2?
No, mobile.
Mobile,
On smartphones.
yeah, I thought so.
So basically, but I don't know how we play, and right now I don't really have that much interested to look into them. So maybe one other time, who knows? We'll see.
Anyway, how is this gameplay riveting?
Well, that's a problem. Now the game starts amping up the bullshit by having enemies coated in armor, but you need to break first before dealing them actual damage. So basically, the game is finding new ways to play keep away with you. And that's just for the tutorial level. Alright, are we good?
We good. He vanished.
Alright, let's blow the horn then.
Sorry, wrong thing.
You know, there actually is a comic where Superman got fused with the God Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Did Marvel sue?
No. It was back
It was
when
actually a
DC...
collaboration
Yeah, it was back when DC and Marvel were collaborating.
and didn't take the piece out of each other. Okay, can we go on? Thank you.
I think my favorite one was how they made Storm Wonder Woman. That was pretty awesome.
Alright, time now instead to have, well, not immediately, but having instead our first take on a boss fight. Well, first we'll have to clean the area, I think. Boop.
You cannot stand against me.
Sure. What he said.
Uh,
Bless his heart, he's trying.
I get what Pedro was saying for the movie commentary. Chris definitely tries to go for the booming sound. It's just that I can't believe it still doesn't work.
It's the same thing with Robert Downey Jr. He clearly didn't. He clearly didn't. He did this while he was asleep. Yes.
I guess Chris Hemsworth instead just has more violent sleeps, I suppose.
Well, I mean, what's like he said to you, at least in this one, unlike the others, it doesn't sound like he's not trying. I think to this, I chalk it up to, again, lack of good direction.
But yeah, bad direction. Let me check if the voice director is credited. Voice producer, I suppose, Timothy Cavison. No, okay, there actually are three people credited for dialogue recordist. First time I actually hear that kind of role. J. David Atherton, Mark De La Fuente, and Harrison Deutsch. I actually don't know anyways. But let me check instead quickly what Liquid Entertainment resume was before and after this, while we get the intro towards the boss fight, which is... get ready to be gasped.
Oh,
it's... cut out. Another frost giant.
Yeah,
I thought that was actually Kratos for
basically,
a second.
this.
Well, it has an interesting gimmick at the very least. You don't have to face the frost giant directly. Instead, he's gonna use the ice to create a golem robot to control. You'll see. It's a natural evolution of the armor that we've seen until this point, so I can understand that. And to be fair, the gimmicks of the boss fights in this game are actually something that I like. You need, in order to actually damage properly the bosses, you need to chip away their armor, meaning that you have to damage them properly, then perform a grab, get to one of their spots that have an armor piece on it, and smash it repeatedly using different combination between square and triangle until that piece of armor is broken. You can properly damage the boss. I like this on paper. The problem is that the boss fights drag as a result, and they can feel a bit too familiar. Some of them will try to implement different gimmicks, but in execution they're very samey. Go on, dude. You were saying?
Well, no, well, that's what I was going to say, you know. He looks like I thought that was actually Kratos for a second.
Anyway, Liquid Entertainment has a history of making, I think, RTSs, because I distinctly remember this one, The Lord of the Rings War of the Ring, which was a game developed by the aid of the Tolkien estate without it being based on the Peter Jackson movies, instead based directly on the books. And it's an RTS. I actually haven't played myself, but I'm curious. Then we did a Dungeons and Dragons game, then we did Desperate Housewives, the game.
There was a Desperate Housewives video game? Pedro, why didn't you tell me this?
I actually know this next one because it was marketed for the PlayStation Magazine, Rise of the Argonauts. I haven't played it myself, but I heard it was interesting, at least to play as. Then they did this one. Then they did...
That'd be like if Naughty Dog made The Last of Us Part 2, but then their next game was bloody Coronation Street, the video game.
Then they did Instant Jam Facebook, Deadline Hollywood the game, then another Dungeons and Dragons game, a game called Karateka, okay, another called Cuddle Pets, One Player Galaxy, and the last one they did was Bun based on Max Steel. In 2014, this was the last thing they did in 2014, and they got dissolved in 2018.
You know, it figures
but what
that...
they did in those 4 years?
So what kind of game... I'm curious to know, what kind of game was Desperate Housewives? Was it like...
I actually don't know.
Was it like the Bachelor video game, I wonder?
It's listed as life simulation and social simulation. It was released only for PC.
Oh my god.
Anyway, speaking of stuff related to the MCU,
found out all the rejigged MCU dates, Jova.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, you asked off commentary. You asked when the Eternals is going to come out.
Actually, I was
That
the one
was
asking
Tio
it.
who asked about Eternals. But go
February 12th. February 12th.
Ah, okay, next year.
And Shang-Chi, which was supposed to come out when I forgot when it was supposed to come out, but that's coming out on May 7th. Yeah, that's coming out on May 7th. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness got bumped up to November 5th, which moves Thor: Love and Thunder to February 2022.
How funny.
Yeah. However, Black Panther 2 is still in its May 8th, 2022.
What about the first Spider-Man movie, MCU movie? I know that it was like jammed like in between those. Anyway, for the last segment of Elf, the boss will try to do something different, as you may have seen, and I will have to perform different QTs in order to free myself and deliver the coup de grace. I just fucked up because I didn't notice that. And keep in mind, this was still in the time where I had the controller was still acting a bit up on its own. Thankfully, I think in the middle of his commentary, I actually got the different one, so things will be back on track soon enough.
Well, Tia, the thing is, these are a string of Disney. This was a string of announcements coming from Disney. I'm guessing it's up to Sony to.
All right, then we'll have to wait.
Sony to what?
Whoop.
There we go. Announce when their Spider-Man 3 MCU film's gonna come out.
All right, pay attention because this cutscene is even bullshit.
Thor, I got here as fast as I could.
Bull.
Right. Hold on.
Well, it was long.
Ha 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 ha. All right, wait for it. Sif, the goddess of war, everyone.
Supposedly
that
she's
series
dead.
is not coming soon enough.
I'm sorry, but isn't she supposed to be, alive in the movie?
That's actually is a plot point. Basically, unbeknownst to Thor, Odin will use his Odin's leap to heal her, but I'm jumping ahead a bit. For now, follow what the game is telling you so far.
Silence, Loki.
All right, Loki. Sorry, since you're mostly interested, Waves. Odin is voiced in this case by Tom Kane, who is also a veteran Marvel games. He's mostly known Marvel products. He's mostly known for voicing Magneto.
I want justice. We'll raise our armies
Also,
against every Jotun
knowing that
who
Sif
fights.
is gonna live kind of takes away any of the tension of
The
her
Jotun are
supposedly being
contained
dead
by
in this
miserable
prequel.
What will war
To be fair, Jova, the game doesn't waste too much time
misery?
on that.
What good is that to Asgard?
Okay. This guy sounds
Sif is
absolutely
dead.
nothing like
You used to
Anthony
care
Hopkins.
Pretty
when
much.
you died.
This is not the time.
He definitely sounds like Tom Kane.
He's not Welsh.
Because he is Jova.
He's not Welsh enough.
Yeah, he's not
If he's
Welsh
not-
enough.
Oh god, his model literally flickered in and out
Yeah.
there.
That actually was the game's fault.
Give me no choice.
No one shall pass this way to live.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not. No one shall pass.
Okay, so Odin, what's your excuse in this game? Again, in the movie, supposedly you had an era of peace between yourselves and the Ice Giants, but here, the Ice Giants pretty much just attacked Asgard, so...
I love how awkwardly they're trying to pull the body away. It's like the mocapping actors had no idea what to do.
Meet me at the
Oh my god, Loki, what happened to your face?
Tom Hiddleston is probably the one that sounds the one that gives a shit the most, I will say, in this game.
Sorry, that...
Anyway, so guess what, guys? Odin as basically these are now the Thor will just hold. Oh, that was Steve Baum, by the way. Thor will now just hold off the last remaining frost giants on the Rainbow Bridge, and we'll see how do because Odin has prohibited anyone to use the Rainbow Bridge towards towards Niflheim. Yeah, so. We'll see what happens for Chapter 2 Vengeance. But,
wow, Tio, you didn't tell me we
Yeah?
were playing the GameCube version.
You're asking because of a multicolor?
It looks about on the same Actually, no. It looks like one of the weaker GameCube games.
Like, is it just me, or like when he speaks, is there something really strange about Thor's voice?
Well, yeah.
It sounds like they edited the heck out of it.
I know, right?
Like, compared to other voices, his just stands out tremendously to me.
So you would say that like they used a filter?
Yeah.
Almost, yes.
I have a
You
bit
hear
of
it too, right, Jova?
Yeah. I have a bit of a theory there. My theory is like, well, they wanted to make his voice sound booming, but something went horribly wrong to the point where it sounds like auto-tune.
It's like...
It sounds like the Royal Guard in MLP, basically.
Crank up the filter, oh fuck, go back.
But that doesn't make any sense. Chris Hemsworth is perfectly capable of sounding booming on his own.
Well,
I know, that's the problem.
Something tells me Liquid Entertainment couldn't afford for a decent recording studio? What?
My guess is that the idea was to make his voice sound somewhat, booming, with a bit of audio effect like the movies do. But unfortunately, instead of, giving it more of that cool echoey effect you hear...
Loki as a plan.
Loki.
We'll see.
Though the old father has denied me, I must get to Niflheim.
And what if you did? What are a few dozen, 100 Jotun dead?
Well, at least Tom sounds fine.
Yeah,
like you
everyone
said,
else
he's the one that gives us shit.
Well, everyone else's voices, like, pretty much are coming in quite clear, and then there's Thor.
Hold on, Lives.
If you know a way, then tell me how, and it shall be done.
In time. First, go to Heimdall's observatory. Convince him to use Bifrost to send you to Niflheim. Then we'll see.
What was the Bifrost?
All right.
Okay. You mentioned flashbacks earlier, Shiori. That was giving me a flashback to the Peter Cushing.
All right,
movies
there we go. That's the plan. Now Odin will use his. Yes, please. We're continuing the tradition of naming everything Odin something.
Wage war against the Gods from now until Ragnarok.
Yes, my son. By using the Odin Force to warp fate itself and retrieve Sif from her warrior's reward, I may yet forestall slaughter and holocaust.
Hey, they referenced Hela.
Slake his
Sorry.
vengeful thirst. And while you recover in the Odin sleep,
Can I have some Odin tea?
Fucking Loki piece of shit.
Brave Sif.
Basically, while Thor will be away, Odin will be forced to use the Odin sleep, and Loki will be just conveniently in charge of Asgard for the time being.
Anyway, I was gonna say, I was given, but earlier, that was given when he said, when he said, I will Bifrost. Was Bifrost? I was giving me flashbacks to the Peter Cushing Doctor Who movies, where instead of calling it the TARDIS, to just call it TARDIS.
sleep, father.
Right.
Sleep
I mean, I prefer to have said it earlier
is
in
necessary
that scene and relevant.
for Asgard.
You
And
piece of garbage.
How subtle.
Anyway, guess what, Jova? Since they couldn't bring Idris Elba to voice Heimdall in this game, he's voiced by Phil Lamar.
No, Thor.
Oh, hey, I like
Agree
Phil
with the old
Lamar.
father.
And it
Maybe
fits.
I'll send you to Niflheim. One way or another,
Yeah, it works.
I will go. You think you are the only one who desires justice?
Well, that's a better video game for him to be in rather than make my video music factory.
You are not to blame for this, Heimdall.
I'm surprised you remember that
Jotun
game.
took Sif from us.
Jova, I
will go
was
to
I was a gamer back when the
So be
FMV
it.
craze was going on.
So there you go. Heimdall, just like in the movie, Heimdall is like, well, not my business. I'm gonna go make a sandwich. Do whatever the fuck you want.
So hang on. So Thor disobeys Odin here, and yet Odin doesn't banish him immediately like he did in the...
That's because right now he's using the Odin sleep, so he cannot. Basically, the game has a bunch of contrived coincidences for how, when it will end, everything will be hunky dory again.
so basically now it's gonna do Odin shit, so Odin's screwed.
It's done.
Excellent, brother. Now, quickly, while Odin laughs and feasts in his great
Oh my god. By the way, if you're expecting some catharsis of Thor punching the shit out of Loki because of he's been a lying bastard, don't expect that. It's not for this game.
Again, that
Anyway,
would break continuity if he did so.
but yeah, for the next part, we will see what Thor fares in Niflheim. Actually, I think we'll manage to get through it its entirety in one part.
Lovely.
So, see you for that.
See you then.
Odin, bye.